What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull-Up Show. I'm your host, Mr. BJ Matthews, a.k.a. B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull-Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe all of our YouTube videos. Hit that like button. Y'all come in here to share, subscribe, hit that Cash App and our Venmo at SlickRick1991 Son for our Cash App. Venmo at BJ/MATHEWS/1. I'll put that into the description like the duration of this video. Let's get it popping. All right, so back with another video, Car Conversations with B. Jizzle. LA Clipper Talk, we back at it. You know what I'm saying? Get used to these videos, man, because it's definitely a way to connect for y'all to get to my intermediate thoughts. So I decided to step in the car and give y'all my post-game analysis from last night's loss to the OKC Thunder 105-92. Now, yesterday we went on StreamYard, and I'm talking about me back on StreamYard again, so I definitely are going to be putting those up more and more. A lot more content's coming daily, post-game, pre-game, all that good stuff, in-game analysis at the arena, stuff like that. A lot of ways for y'all to get more connected to, you know what I'm saying, the pull-up that we're doing that, you know, other podcasts aren't doing. So, last night, the Clippers did not get the dub, which I actually predicted before the game started that we're going to probably be not going to get out of this win. I had a live that said, do the Clippers have a chance to win last night against the Thunder? And the reason why I say that is because we already know the Thunder are the number one seed in the Western Conference. They're now 6-0 after beating us yesterday, coming off a back-to-back against the Portland Trailblazers, who we lost to the other night. They're the best team in the West right now this season. But as I've told y'all before, OKC is not a team that I look at as a playoff team yet, because they have not had any success in the playoffs. So a lot of times people get it twisted where they think a team has a great regular season record, they're going to translate to the playoffs. And I tell people all the time, it's a difference between the playoffs and the regular season. Regular season seeding and, you know, 82 games, who's the most healthiest tends to be the team that gets the better seed. But they go into the postseason where all the teams put their best chips in, is because, you know, they're going for a championship, and then they don't have the favorable matchup, and then they start falling to the wayside. As I talk about other teams, I'm talking about a little about OKC. OKC, I've seen over the last couple of years has been really relevant. SGA has been really relevant. Outside of last year, nobody was really talking about SGA. As I've told y'all before, I think this is 8th season right now, going on this 8th season, if I'm not mistaken, 7th or 8th season. And they have built a team, and I gotta give Sam Presti, their GM, credit for being patient and building a team comparable around SGA. You've added Chet Holmgren, who's now a third-year player, who is a stretch big at 7'3", who protects the rim, who can shoot the outside three-point shot, who is compared to Kevin Durant coming into the NBA, which I don't really see much of KD in him, other than he's just tall and he has, you know, some range and he has a little bit of, you know, handle. But, you know, they compared his guy to KD, so he was obviously a, you know, a top pick. And then you surrounded him with some good offensive players like J-Dub, Jaden Williams with the cornrows. He's a very, very good player as far as offensively, and he's a good scrappy defensive player as well. And he's a winner. You can tell in his intangibles and how he plays hard, and you know how he, you know, knows how to, you know, play in the system. He's not completely what you call a championship type of player, but you can tell the growth in his game. Jaden Williams, they call him J-Dub. You got Isaiah Joe coming off the bench. They added Isaiah Hardenstein and Alex Caruso to the squad this offseason, which were the two moves that they needed for, my personal opinion, become a playoff team. I believe adding those two pieces were what the Oklahoma City Thunder needed coming off of that loss to the Mavericks last year in 6 games. So I do think this will be a year that OKC has a chance to get to the conference finals, because they've added some more playoff experience with Caruso and Isaac Hardenstein. They do have another year under their belt with their role players like Lou Dort, and like I said, J-Dub, and, you know, Jaden and Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace, and those players that coming off the bench. They got some good, you know, youth coming with them, and they've got rid of Josh Giddey, who in my personal opinion was the person holding the team back. They have a complete team now, and they got some experience in the playoffs. So we'll see with OKC, but they're definitely the best team in the West because of, you know, what they built and what the team that they have, and, you know, the consistency of them playing 82 games with their youth. So that's something I went into in my thoughts, saying that OKC is going to pull out this win. So what happened last night with our team? Obviously, We lost our third home game at the Intuit Dome, which, if you want to ask me the adjustments of what we could have done better, well, I kept it really brief because yesterday was probably the first game I can look and say, well, we might not have much to go with as far as what we can do to win. But I do have a few thoughts in my mind where I thought, we could actually get somewhat of a upper hand. Like I said, OKC coming off that back-to-back, even though it's early in the season, could have been in our prevail, and that's why I think probably they started off a little slow yesterday, and we took advantage of that. But going into the game yesterday, I said, okay, certain players are going to be integral in this game, and I was presumed to be right. Kai Jones, first quarter, made his imprint coming into the game, protecting the rim, energy, running the floor, right? I said he was going to be a person we could put on Chet Holmgren, who had an inefficient game, which I was really surprised. I think he shot 3 for 10 or 3 for 12 yesterday and had like 10 points. But he had 14 rebounds because we didn't have the right personnel. Again, Mr. Ty Lue. But Kai Jones, Nicholas Batum were two guys that could have really had a big imprint on yesterday's game, and they did. And I thought they should have played more. Kai Jones played 10 minutes. I don't understand why Ty Lue didn't play him more yesterday, because I think that was a very, very good game. He was protecting the rim. OKC was not trying to go inside as much as they would, in the second half when they didn't have Kai Jones in the game to protect the basket. So, again, we keep saying every game is different. Like, just because you got Derrick Jones Jr. on the court one game doesn't mean he needs to be in another game. He was 1 for 9 yesterday from the field. I think 0 for 5 from 3. Streaky shooter. He was shooting the ball pretty good, the first few games. But you're going to expect a pretty bad shooting game from Derrick Jones, because that's not what he does. And he doesn't provide much offense if he can't space the floor and he can't get the lob. So, us not going to Kai Jones more, and then us taking Nicholas Batum out in that second quarter where OKC made a run. If y'all go back and watch that last 4 minutes of the second quarter, they made an 8-0 run under 4 minutes to go. And they had a lineup of Norman Powell, James Harden, Derrick Jones as a center. I think Amir Coffey, and who was the fifth? I think it was, I don't know if it was KPJ. I don't think it was KPJ. It was the fifth guy they had in the second quarter of that last 4 minutes, where we gave the lead right back to OKC. Now, one of the biggest issues we continuously have over and over, like a broken record, we cannot keep leads. And it's a combination of a number of things. One is just what I just said. The rotations at the wrong time. I'm going to say this again, y'all. Because of a talent level we do not have like we did in the past, we cannot afford to have too little to any mishaps at any part of the game, because the lead would just evaporate like that. Last year we could afford to do that because we had talent. We had guys that can play both ways. We had our stars on the floor. We had two-way players, which allowed James Harden, which I'm going to talk to y'all at last, to play his seminal role as a facilitator / scorer when he needed or wanted to be. Right? So, because you had lineups like that, like I just mentioned, that allowed OKC to get rhythm, the lead went from us being up 10 to like them being up by 2 within 3-4 minutes. That's how quick it can go. And that's the last team you want to try that with OKC, who has much talent as they have. But I digress by that. We are having issues, I think it's pretty evident to say, of keeping leads. And that's going to be a problem throughout the rest of the year until we have Kawhi Leonard back on the court, because, see, this is what Kawhi Leonard, what he does. He stops the bleeding. Because you didn't get the ball to Zubac as much as, expected, which I actually did expect them not to, have a big game yesterday. I thought Zubac was going to struggle with Chet Holmgren. Let me put this in. Let me charge this up real quick, y'all. All right. I came in saying that Zubac wasn't going to have a great game because Chet Holmgren is a person that's going to probably take him out of rhythm offensively and defensively, and that's exactly what happened. There were some possessions, though, that Zubac was calling for the ball. They did not give it to him, which presumed him again to shoot bad, ill-advised shots. James Harden, Kevin Porter Jr., Norman Powell. Those are the three guys I'm talking about. But like I tell y'all before, Kawhi stops the bleeding with his mid-range shooting, and he closes the games in the fourth quarter. That's what he is. That's what he does. So we don't have that no more right now. That's why y'all seeing the same pattern over and over. Now, let me go to another point I saw also in the game yesterday. Because I said, because I thought we were going to lose, I didn't really have much of an analysis, but I did have some points I think that can carry on to the next game and the game after that. I told y'all about KPJ. I'm going to give him some time to, get back into implement of things. He hit his first three-point shot yesterday. And it was on the and one. It was a nice shot. But I told y'all, if KPJ cannot create instant offense off the bench, what we brought him here for, and you got somebody else that can, you might want to try to, squeak your lineup a little bit, Ty Lue. Right? Because Bones Highland is a player who has had already sparks with the Clippers in the past. So what's stopping you guys from playing him on the court? So last night, they put Bones Highland, Jordan Miller, Kobe Brown, Amir Coffey, and Kai Jones in the game towards the end. And I did see something that I, thought was interesting. I saw Bones Highland get into the game. Yes, it was against the third string for OKC, second, third string, whatever. But still, I'm looking at the fact that he can hit an outside three-point shot. I'm looking at the fact that he can run an offense. I'm looking at the fact that, he does have the ability to get downhill, to me, even better than KPJ, even though he's smaller. Now, the only thing people worry about with Bones is his defense. I'm starting to more and more kind of get away from that. Because I'm looking at, we have enough quote-unquote defense around, so is he going to really be that much exploited? Unless you have a lineup with him and James Harden at the same time. But if you have enough defense around Bones Highland where he can basically operate on the offensive end and at least try to help on defense, I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. Kevin Porter Jr. right now, his IQ is not high enough to read the defenses, and I think he makes mistakes at the wrong times. Against good quality teams, you cannot afford that. Again, margin of error is very important. James Harden, he's turned the ball over enough by himself. And because of him and his system that we have to try to, balance out, we don't need to add on Kevin Porter Jr. to those turnovers. And you're not really knocking down three-point shots. So, I guess what I'm trying to tell y'all is I'm going to give KPJ some more time, but I would like to see Bones play a little bit more, man. I really would. Because we got to see what we have on the court. If Bones can give us more offense than KPJ right now, I'm going with Bones. I've seen Bones drop 37 points against the Phoenix Suns in a season game last year. I've seen Bones drop 25 in a playoff game against Phoenix 2 years ago. I've seen Bones average 15 points in preseason. I've seen him be instantly good with, this team. So I'm looking at it like, why won't you just step him on the court? And I think Jordan Miller, we seen a little bit even yesterday. You don't want to put him out against the starting five against, a quality team. I don't think he's ready for that. I don't think he's ready. And he shouldn't be jumping over Bones anyway. I think Jordan Miller needs to wait his turn. I think he can wait his turn. But my point is that certain things are becoming more and more alarming. Certain things are becoming more and more transparent. Certain things are becoming more and more eye-opening. James Harden, 4 for 13 from the field and had an inefficient three-point shooting night as well. Again, 32 minutes. Now, my personal opinion, I think Harden, his minutes were managed pretty well yesterday. And I think that he didn't do anything out the norm of shooting 3-point shots, because again, when you take away his pick and roll with Zubac, and they're starting to figure that out throughout the league, James Harden is going to be subjugated to not just to basically shoot long distance shots and try to draw fouls. That's what he's going to try to do. So it's going to be becoming more and more eye-opening that his system is not going to be conducive for this team. Hell, even when we started making runs was when James Harden wasn't on the court. So, yeah, you can fill the stat sheet up all you want, but it's going to equate to wins. I've told y'all many times, I'm going to keep saying it. The games that we used the James Harden system, where he shot the majority of the shots, or he had majority time with the ball, we came out with L's. The first game against the Phoenix Suns, he had 28 shots, shot 10 for 28. Everybody said James Harden had 28 points. Well, yeah, but the shots that he missed and the turnovers that he created hurt us even more because it took everybody else out of rhythm, right? So he comes out after the Portland game or Phoenix game after, on Thursday, and says the usage rate that he's being used a lot is why the turnovers are piling up. And I call BS, I call bullshit, because you're the same person that said the system, you are a system. Your system is you having a high usage rate. You didn't complain about it back then, but you complain about it now. It's just a simple fact that James Harden cannot do what he did in Houston. That Houston James Harden, that Brooklyn Nets James Harden, before he had his hamstring, he can no longer do the same things he was doing at that time. He is not a first star. He's not a second. He's a third star right now in the NBA, third. And you guys have him playing like he's a first star or expecting to be the star of the team. He's not that no more. That's why the turnovers are piling up. 6.3 turnovers he's averaging throughout the entire league, leading the league in turnovers. 36% from the field, 25% from the three. That's what he's shooting right now. That's not what we need. So I believe the Clippers said, okay, well, you feel like you're being used too much, we're going to draw back your minutes. Instead of you getting 38, you get 32 minutes yesterday. And I think that's a perfect amount of minutes for him. Now he needs to focus on just being more efficient from the field and giving the ball up to Chris Dunn or KPJ or Bones, if he play, whoever it is, give the ball up and let them, bring the ball up and run the offense some and let you be a spot shooter. That's how you can preserve your energy. The James Harden system does not win championships. It looks good, it looks sexy throughout the regular season. You might have some success beating some teams in the playoffs, but you're not going to win having a high dominant point guard or point combo guard controlling your offense and is not really interested in playing defense. But at times. So, again, I didn't think we were going to win the game last night, but for me, it was more about what habits did we build and what things did we learn. And I thought one thing we need to do, Ty Lue has to be better with his rotations and knowing when to put guys into the game and take them out, because the margin of error is low for us because we don't have the talent. 2, I feel like Bones Highland or KPJ right now, I've given him some time, but if he doesn't get it right against even the bad teams like San Antonio, then he can take a seat to me. And then 3, the management of the James Harden offense from the LA Clipper offense. Okay? But that's pretty much it. And, we'll be back on after the Spurs game for the post-game analysis. Car conversations with B Jizzle. Until next time, pull up and see, pull up and check, pull it live. Peace. Out of here like swim wow.